If you're a hockey player looking to purchase real estate and are considering a property in neither a city that you play in or that you live in during the off season, in this video, we'll discuss purchasing a property somewhere totally different than where you play or where you want to live. And we'll also discuss purchasing a new construction property, so something that won't be done for a couple years' time. And if you wanted to watch part one of this series for 4 concepts for hockey players, which discusses purchasing a property for where you live during the off season or purchasing a property for during the season, there's another link to that video on this channel. I'm Ouzas. I'm a realtor here in the city of Toronto. I used to play professional hockey and I know exactly what it's like for players looking to purchase a property in a city that they don't live in or looking to purchase on the pre-construction market. We'll discuss those 2 concepts in this video. And if you ever want to discuss your scenario on what you're considering doing or need some help in finding a realtor in a market you're considering purchasing in, we do have a great connection of former professional hockey players that are realtors all around North America. We can connect you to whoever you need. You can click on that first link in the description down below. Next up, we have looking for a property in a city that you don't live in or play in. It could make things a little bit more affordable. So for example, if you are playing in the city of Toronto, but you're looking to purchase something out in, for example, Arizona, it may be cheaper to purchase something down south versus here in the city of Toronto. It really just depends what you're looking for, and it's still an entry into the real estate market. This could also add in potential for a short-term rental property if it is a property in some of those getaway cities, or you could rent it out long-term for less turnover, and it would still give you the upside in equity over time if you are purchasing in markets that this makes sense and that those markets have seen some pretty good appreciation over the years. On the flip side of that, some of the things to consider are you'd be managing that property from a distance full-time, not just during the season or during the off-season. It would be a full-time managing of the property. So I would recommend a property manager for that scenario, especially if it's in a city that you don't have super close access to. And I would also recommend planning to check in every year. So go take a look at your property that you own. Go see how that property has been getting upkeep throughout the year. Especially if you do have a property manager, it does make sure that everything is working out really well with them. The other element of this is you may not know the area or city, just like we talked about if you're buying in a new city. So I would recommend connecting with a local professional that can help you navigate some of the best areas of the city. And if you do need a network of people, there are plenty of hockey players in all these cities that are realtors that we can connect you with, no problem. Location still very important. So if you are purchasing in an area that, for example, you don't know much about, you will want to find out what are some of the best locations and premium locations, because ideally that will get you the best amount of rent possible and keep it in high demand throughout the year. And there are new short-term rental rules that are coming into most of these cities as the months go by. So if you are looking to purchase, even for example, in a city like Toronto, we do have short-term rental rules here in the city, which doesn't make it that easy to do things like Airbnb or VRBO or any of those short-term rentals. This is number 4 on the list, and I would actually consider a bit of a bonus, but this is purchasing a pre-construction property. And what a pre-construction property is a property that's not yet built. So for example, if you're driving around a city like Toronto, you will see some of these showrooms around the city that'll say, buy now with X deposit, and it will be ready in a few years' time. So what that means, you go in and you're purchasing the property based on rendering. So they could have 3D models, they could have virtual tours where you either put on 3D goggles and walk through a property. They have plenty of marketing material, printed material. Essentially, they are showing you what this product should look like in a few years' time. These builders generally offer an extended deposit structure. So you may have to put down a percentage within, for example, 30 days, another percentage within, for example, 60 or 90 or 1 year's time, and then different percentage payments as you go through up to closing. And generally, the builders will get you to about 20% on closing over a 3, 4, 5 year period of time. They're typically ready in 3 to 5 years. The nice thing about this is you can choose your finishes, your style, different elements if you want to add or take away some of the walls. Sometimes you have the options to do that if you want to open things up. And you can also upgrade things as you go, and you will be walking into a brand new property. There are plenty of builder incentives, especially where these builders are offering lots of incentives when it comes time to new construction projects. So if you are looking for something that's going to be ready in a few years' time, there are plenty of incentives out there to take a look at. And if you have any questions on that, you could definitely let me know. We can send you all the newest projects. There are some things to consider when purchasing a pre-construction project. And number 1, I definitely recommend going with a reputable builder. Even in times where properties are not getting fully sold out, reputable builders will generally continue going forward with the project, or at least continuing with the plan to build the project. And you know that their quality is going to be really good. With any of these pre-construction projects, always anticipate some delays to happen, as if it's supposed to be ready in 3 to 4 years, it may take 4 4 to 5 years, depending on numerous factors, sales, and whether it be the amount of sales that need to happen for the project to get started, or even just supply chains to make sure that all the elements they need for that project are available. There are development charges to consider, and that's why working with someone who knows how to navigate the pre-construction market and how to cap these development charges so you don't have to pay an astronomical amount on closing. Super, super important. And ideally, you'll want to still keep in touch with the central locations. Now, that being said, they are typically much more expensive than the resale market. And for example, for condos right now, the premium is typically around $200 to $500 a square foot. And right now it's pushing closer to that $500 square foot mark of a premium over the condo that's already ready across the street. So you are paying the cost for future pricing. And right now in Toronto condos, you're looking anywhere between $1,400 kind of outside the city to up to $2,300 per square foot if you are central in some of the best areas of the city. So $2,300 a square foot, just to put that into context, a 500 square foot property is about $1 million right now on the pre-construction side. So it's definitely a big difference when it comes to where things are at on resale pricing right now, somewhere between the $900 to $1,100 a square foot. And this could change as we go forward, but that's where things are at today. And cheaper locations are typically less central. And that's, of course, because the cost to get the land is generally cheaper outside of the major centers. That was part 2 of 4 concepts for real estate for hockey players. You can find part 1 also on this channel. I'm Michael Ouzas. Thanks for watching.